Alright, so my wellness specialty presentation will be on expressive writing. So, expressive writing is about using writing to share how you are feeling in an authentic and emotional way. There are many ways to do it, and it can be a technique in session or something to offer for homework, or both. I chose this topic because I've always really enjoyed writing. I was a creative writing minor in undergrad. I really got a lot out of the pieces I wrote through that, which were very reflective in nature. I still like to occasionally journal and feel like the assignments we've had in this mindfulness class have really helped me keep up with that. I also hope to implement writing practices with clients to see the benefits in action. So the article proves that expressive writing, or EW as it's called, serves as a form of exposure therapy, as it is about meeting the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors where they're at rather than holding them back, which, as mentioned, holding them back can be harmful. So they also mention expressive writing as having holistic benefits. He discusses how his studies find physiological benefits in addition to the mental and emotional perks discussed throughout the article. He also highlights that he got lots of positive feedback from the people whose lives were changed from the act of EW. So the second article mentions some conditions that could be modified and still be effective with EW. These include the setting of sessions, whether it was written, typed, or recorded, the length of writing both per day and amount of days, and the prompts that were chosen for them to write about. So in this study, they had participants write using a distanced perspective. So this means that they had them look back upon them as memories having happened in the past rather than imagining that it is happening at that very moment as they write. They also mention that while it doesn't have to take place in the therapy office, there are a number of benefits of practicing it at least sometimes in the office. This allows the opportunity for guidance on the therapist's part to allow the client to get the most beneficial experience from it possible, as well as time-limited approach with immediate feedback available. The therapist can even guide the client after having done it for homework. The article also describes this as a public health game changer, as it can be very accessible and doesn't require many resources. So the third article talks about two benefits of expressive writing. The first is looking at terms like because and effect and seeing the rationale of events. And the second is using words like consider and know, which is about taking some time to reflect on your own beliefs and feelings from the events. It also talks about the difference between writing in first versus third person. It mentions that first person is more effective since it gives them genuine ownership and the protagonist role in their event. It mentioned that while writing in third person may feel safer at times, it might also make them feel a bit more detached, so kind of weighing both sides and seeing what's right, even though it seems that there's more benefits from the first person, obviously kind of building to that and looking at the client's comfort in what they desire to write about at that moment. So the third article also talks about how EW can be implemented into different kinds of therapy. So going through different modalities that the writing can take place. So to start, a cognitive behavioral therapy diary is about writing about sensations, thoughts, settings, emotions, and behavior in order to improve the symptom, cognition, and self-awareness. So this would be dividing things up into thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and really reflecting on that and looking at what's behind each of those and the connection between each of those as well, and being able to have that written down on paper and really implementing the power of writing and documentation through CBT. So then logotherapy implements some more existential related writing. So this would be significant in increasing life meaning by reframing issues and talking about things that are really personal to the client and the client's own existence. So an activity that stuck out to me in this article from this section was the activity where you would write about what people in your life would hypothetically say in your memory. So this would be called writing your epitaph, or however you pronounce that word. And so the last one on here would be acceptance and commitment therapy, where they talk about thought diffusion. And so thought diffusion is a method that allows the client to separate the thoughts and feelings in writing for benefit. So that would be kind of similar to CBT journaling as well, really separating those thoughts from emotions and thinking about events as events. So the fourth article gives some examples of expressive writing prompts, including separating things into past, present, and future, looking at writing about different kinds of relationships, and separating who they are and who they would like to be. So their findings show that people who write about more personal things are more able to find significance in their writing. They also find those with higher subjective severity and awareness of it gain the most from it. So of course, writing has been around for a long time, so have storytelling and expression. When it comes to EW, that term was coined by James Pennebaker, and he also contributed a lot to writing being implemented in the therapy setting. So original studies had people write for just 15 minutes a day with what they were suffering with, and it showed lots of benefits. These benefits extended to a variety of populations, including those with asthma, depression, and trauma. He also saw writing as a form of acceptance and expression of emotions, as talked about before, making it a therapeutic mode. So training and certification aren't necessarily requirements for having expressive writing services for clients. However, I do recommend doing research on the benefits and techniques and seeing what works well for specific clients too. If you do want to get further formal training in expressive writing, however, the Therapeutic Writing Institute offers continuing education and training for those who want to be a certified journal therapist. Their website, which is linked below, mentions that these individuals can craft their own therapeutic writing programs and lead groups. So there aren't really professional organizations specifically designed for expressive and therapeutic writing as far as I could see, but it would be cool if one was eventually developed. I did see on the International Expressive Art Therapy Association's website, which I have linked below, that they do mention all forms of writing as a form of intermodal expressive art. So that may be a good place to start if you're looking for an organization related to, but not directly about, expressive writing. And here are the references. And that's the video. Thank you for watching.